Now we're all familiar with the Peugeot 308, it's been around for quite a while, it's no spring chicken, but it's been fighting the good fight against the Ford Focus and Volkswagen Golf admirably, and that means it's still worth your consideration. I think the 308 still looks pretty good today. It looks really premium in this metallic grey paint of this example, and this very car is also a GT line model, which means it gets some other sportier trinkets such as enhanced bodywork, these nice alloy wheels, and some really sharp LED lights that set off the design really nicely. It's just a pretty well-proportioned car that isn't continuously screaming for attention like some rivals, and some people will value that subtlety. Over the past few years, Peugeot's worked hard to take their cars up market, and that's something that's perhaps embodied by the wide chromed grille at the front. The 308 still scores really well in terms of practicality. I mean, take its 470 litre boot for example. There's only one car in the class with a larger boot than this, and that somewhat suggests that maybe newer rivals haven't moved the game on quite so much. Things aren't quite as spacious in the rear of the passenger compartment, because whilst the rear bench seats 3 and sports some really nice contrasting red stitching on this GT line model, rear legroom is only adequate, with rivals such as the Ford Focus offering much more space. Headroom is rather dependent on your specification of car. As standard, there's plenty of it, but go for a model with this panoramic roof and it does eat into space. Up front you'll find nicely bolstered seats with plenty of support and adjustment, making sure you're comfortable on longer journeys. While there certainly are plenty of hard plastic surfaces in the cabin, they do give a degree of durability, and the sculpted nature of the design combined with some premium leather touches does lift the cabin. The way Peugeot seats its drivers has always been a point of contention, with the dial sitting above a smaller steering wheel. And whilst some struggle to find a seating position where the wheel does not obscure the dials, I find there's enough adjustment for me to get comfortable. There's no getting around how dated the cabin looks these days, but hopefully that's something that a facelifted model coming soon will rectify. Under the bonnet of this particular Peugeot 308 is a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's actually a multi-award-winning engine for Peugeot and rivals the likes of Ford's EcoBoost engine. Produces 129 brake horsepower and 170 pounds-feet of torque. It will get you from 0 to 62 miles per hour in a respectable 9.8 seconds. It's actually a pretty good engine, and despite its odd number of cylinders, it's really nice and smooth. There's not very much vibration that translates its way into the cabin, and unless you're really putting your foot down, that 3-cylinder thrum is practically absent. Refinement is really good as a whole in the cabin here. The suspension is quite nice and supple, good at soaking up road imperfections, and the 17-inch alloy wheels of the GT line car have a good amount of rubber between the alloy and the road, just to add a little bit of extra cushioning whenever you hit a pothole or a speed bump. The overall environment in the cabin is one of peace and tranquility. There's a real grown-up feel to this car, a maturity to the environment. There's not too much noise coming into the car. Okay, at higher speeds you do get a bit of road noise, but I did a journey of over 400 miles in one hit the other day, and I came out the other side not cranky, relaxed, and actually, like I said, these seats offer plenty of support for those lengthy journeys. And if you have a question mark over this little engine holding its own on the motorway, do not worry, that low down torque in the rev range provides plenty of shove for bold overtakes. Now the engine of this specific Peugeot is connected to the front wheels via an 8-speed automatic transmission, and it's okay. I mean, it's smooth enough left to its own devices. You do get a bit of a lumpy shift every now and then in stop-start traffic around town, but generally speaking it knows what it's doing. Flick it into manual mode though and you will get quite hesitant up and down shifts. There are just better automatic gearboxes out there, and so our overall recommendation would be to go for the manual option in this car. Now one of the benefits of Peugeot's smaller steering arrangements is that it gives the car an extra sense of agility. Drive it with a bit of verve and combined with the general accuracy of the car, you'll find that it's quite nimble. There's plenty of reassuring grip on offer, though don't mistake this car for some sort of driver's machine, because there's not very much in terms of feedback coming the other way. In that regard, the likes of the Ford Focus definitely tops this class. Now a real gripe I do have with the Peugeot 308 is its touchscreen infotainment system, and whilst you can have a screen up to 9.7 inches, there are better, clearer, more all-encompassing displays. But my real issue is not the screen size, more to do with its functionality, because key controls such as air conditioning are buried well within there. And if you just want a few degrees up or down on the air conditioning, you have to blindly stab away at a screen whilst you're driving just to activate something as simple as that. And I think it's a real ergonomic flaw. And on top of that, you can tell that it's not the newest processor. All of the menus are a little bit delayed, a little bit sluggish. And yeah, it's the thing that really makes this cabin a bit of a pain in the backside, actually. Now, with an updated car, we'd expect things like that to change for the better. But as it stands at the moment, I just find it really irritating to use, especially as other Peugeots in the range have a nice series of shortcut keys. Now, during our time with the Peugeot 308, we've averaged about 45.5 mpg, which isn't too bad at all. And according to WLTP testing figures, it emits 136 grams per kilometre of CO2. The current 308 range starts at £22,000, but if you want one of these GT line cars, you'll need £25,580, though it does come pretty well equipped with just about everything you could want, really. And in comparison with contemporary rivals, it's pretty good value for money. The Peugeot 308 remains a great all-rounder and definitely worthy of your consideration. In fact, there's quite a few great deals that can be found on 308s on dealer forecourts at the moment, some of which can be found at YesAuto.com. Head to YesAuto.com for the latest car news and reviews, and don't forget to check us out on social media. We're in all the usual places such as Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Simply search for YesAuto.